The SCCY CPX-3, wonderful little double stack 380, absolute pleasure to shoot, giving you plenty of capacity. The sights, at least on ours when we first tested, weren't quite on. We didn't adjust them, we just took it out of the box to shoot it and show it to you. And we'd said, man, if we could get those sights dialed in right, it would be an amazing gun. Well, now we've got an even easier way to dial the sights in, and a benefit to folks out there who may not have the best eyesight. Slightly different packaging, probably because this is an early production, but the SCCYs are now available out of the box with a Crimson Trace reflex sight. That'll be what we take a look at next on GBGuns. So first things first, pardon the voice. I am getting over a cold. Decided to get my immune system ready for the SHOT Show plague by getting sick just weeks before it. In the box, we have our signature SCCY lock. I like this lock because it totally covers over the trigger. No risk of anything happening there. You get two magazines. You have your full and your halfway, and then your empty. Very, very simple. One with a finger rest, one without. From Crimson Trace, you get their user guide. It is the CTS 1500 if you want to look up this reflex sight later on. With a lens cloth, you get the 2032 battery, which I've already installed because I was excited. A coupon for some holsters, the warranty, more coupons, and the manual itself. Now these things are available in a whole myriad of colors, and I think quite appropriately SCCY has a full color manual. They do a good job of explaining things, nice breakdown with very clear illustrations, excellent for both new and experienced shooters alike. With that out of the way, this is also a nice cheat sheet, component names sheet, since they don't always tell you that, and if you're new to guns, that can be intimidating. Let's get the box out of the way and start talking about this gun. So I zoomed in a little bit because it is a small gun and I have large hands, but you can see how it fits there. These things have been around for quite some time, and before shooting them, I had heard them mocked quite a bit. I think people mock them because they're so affordable and haven't actually shot them yet. In the hand, they are great because you've got an actual locking breech 380. It's not straight blowback, which means your hand is not absorbing all the recoil from that round. Some of it is taken up in the mechanism, which is bearable in blowback in 380, but you put it in this quad lock and it gets even softer to shoot. Very comfortable. It's a double action only trigger system. You can see we're clear there, which means that there is a hammer back here that you might be able to see. There we go, and it'll drop. Double action only means you have the same length of pull and weight of pull every time, and that the slide doesn't need to operate to rearm it like it does on most striker guns. So the advantage there is if you've got old ammo or questionable ammo that may not go bang the first time, because guns like these can be your pack gun, they can be your truck gun, they could be your trail gun. You might have just fished it out of the stream after it fell out of your chest holster kind of thing. This gives you the chance to pull again if it doesn't go off the first time. Then of course rack to kick that round out if it didn't go off at all. So that's the advantage there. I also like double action for new shooters, even though it can be a little more difficult to master. If it's going to be a defensive gun, and this is sized for defensive guns, having a short light trigger can be a liability, because in those stressful moments all kinds of things happen. Take it from me, I've been in numerous gunfights, granted none of them on the streets, they were all in the mountains of Afghanistan, but the point is you don't always know what all of your body is doing and where, and when you're stressed, fearing for your life, the life of loved ones, bumping your toe, something startling you, all that could be what gives you just a little twitch that sets off a round. But in a double action only, you've got a little bit of twitch protection there. It's not going off all the way until there. Very deliberate. So with that done, what SCCY has done here is giving you an out-of-the-box gun that isn't just red dot or reflex sight ready, it comes with one. This Crimson Trace is a very simple model. See, it's already on there because there is no on-off switch. I can't see any light sensors. I think it just runs. But considering the life span of these batteries tends to be 40, 50,000 hours. I don't know what it is for this particular sight, and I'm not concerned about it because it's going to go longer than I'm going to need it to. All you got to do is check once a week, once a month, whatever you feel comfortable with checking. Make sure the battery's still in there. But that red dot there is your sighting system. And for those that are new to it, what's great about these is the eye can focus on the target. Yes, I have my hand in front of the gun. Yes, we've shown clear several times. My point is that you're looking at your target in front of you, not trying to line up sights. All you need is that dot on the bad guy or the target, squeeze, and you're good to go. You might also notice from this angle that there's a little bit of a cutout on the back end of this sight right here that does fit the front sight post. Whether or not that is lined up to be able to use that for accurate shots, we'll have to find out when we get to the range. We'll take some shots with and without using the dot to see what the difference is. We of course need to zero the dot. That's not too complicated. It came with the Allen wrenches needed to adjust it, but pretty neat setup. The rest of this thing is like all SCCYs. We have a little bit of play, a nice rounded front end, rather stylish cuts for a gun so affordable. No checkering on the front of the trigger guard, but a good cut in here, almost enough for my fat fingers to fit. Unfortunately, what happens for me with grooved guns like this and big fingers is this finger ends up most of the way in, this guy ends up on the high spot. Even on the Glocks that happen. Flush fit magazine for me is 2 and a slip. The pinky rest magazine, I can get full 3 on there. So that's the magazine that I of course prefer to use. We have a resting spot here for the thumb. If you're left-handed, you got one there too. I also like these divots up here, serve well as reference points for where to rest your trigger finger when you're not shooting, and also where to put your thumb from your support hand on the other side. Nice, easy spots to find. The texturing is not very aggressive. That's okay. It's easier to make it aggressive than to make it less aggressive, so I applaud them for that choice. You don't have any flaring of a fancy magazine well or anything. You do have more tail than front, which I appreciate for doing a load like that when you're reaching and give you something to stop against on your way in. Texturing on the back. Our slide to frame fit. A little bit of give on the up and down, but the barrel is locked solid in there, so not too worried about that. Did notice on this particular gun, this is our third SCCY, a little burr there from machining. We just have to take a file and knock that off. If this were a $600 gun, I'd be upset. But for the price these things go for, totally acceptable. And it'll do the same thing most of the much more expensive guns can do. Coming around the right side, we can see our serrations, which have a nice shape to it. And not only stylish, but also grabs your hands, and an external extractor. Next, we'll field strip this and take a look inside the gun. So to field strip your SCCY, you may need a tool. I say may because there is a little bit of digging to be done. We're of course going to check clear and lock the slide open. And when it's open, you'll notice that this notch here lines up with that cutout. You take something, I've used the back end of rounds. You can also use, well, really a screwdriver, anything that can pick, and get in there and reach on that little ledge, you see? We pull that pin out, let our slide go forward, and the slide comes off the frame. No need to pull the trigger. You can see that despite the low price tag, these are sitting on a full steel chassis inside, which should add to longevity. Overall, rather simplistic looking. It does what it needs to do. Pull out our recoil assembly, which is captured and feels to be a steel rod with a flat spring. Very nice. Push and bring the barrel forward, back, up and out, and we can see our feed ramp there. Even has a little bit of beveling around the top of the barrel, to the top of the opening in there. Just in case a round is wildly misfed, it might have a chance of still getting in there, which I appreciate. And then one thing that impresses me with SCCY is despite how many, I don't know, million of these they've cranked out, you look at that machining and there's no tooling marks. It's all very cleanly done. Now this is the two-tone model, obviously. They have a whole myriad of colors, a whole bunch of colors, crazy colors. In fact, when I first saw them, and I saw that they had one in blaze orange, that color that hunters use for safety, I asked them why. Like, how is that a thing? And it made a lot of sense that they have a lot of guys that take these guns out hiking with them or out fishing, things like that, and in places where it might fall out, especially, let's be honest, if you're not spending a whole lot of money on your rig, chances are you've got a soft nylon pouch or something where there's not a lot of retention. And if you're out on a hunt or fishing or hiking and you know your gun is dropped, it's a whole lot easier to find one that's blaze orange than it is to find one that's, say, flat dark earth or forest green. We're going to lock our slide back in position, and you see through that hole there's openness, a wall, and then the ramp. And where the ramp is where we want to put our pin back in. Clicks in nicely, let the slide go, quick functions check, and the gun's back together. Very easy to operate, rather easy to rack, because you've got that locking device, that locking quad lock setup in there, means that this recoil spring doesn't have to be as strong as it would on a blowback. Overall, these are very pleasant guns to shoot. I know they're capable of better accuracy than what we've shot in the past. I'm hoping that this Crimson Trace reflex sight on here will show us that. One thing I did notice, this magazine doesn't sit high enough to engage the catch. So if I push up on this magazine, now it locks easily. If I'm not pushing up, it doesn't lock. The other magazine that it came with sits tighter and locks no problem. I've been told by viewers like you that Sky has a great warranty system, and you let them know and they'll swap out the magazines quick and easy, no questions asked. So I'm not too worried about it, but just wanted to put that out there because we've experienced it on our other guns as well. If you have a magazine that isn't locking back when open, that could be it, but there is recourse. Other than that, the only improvements I wish they do is move these witness windows to the left side of the magazine, because if you're checking your magazine and you're right-handed, you see the left side of the mag, you see the back side of the mag. The last thing you see is the right side of the mag or the front. So having them on this side, I don't get it. I know a lot of European guns do that too. It just, someone hopefully can please explain in the comments below why they think they end up on the right side of the mag. But other than that, these have been great guns so far. I'm expecting great results when we get out to the range. We have added a little bit of reciprocating mass by having that sight on there. Whether or not that'll affect the gun's ability to eat all of the ammo we do in the What's for Dinner test, time will tell. We'll see you on the range. Thanks for watching.